Well, hello and welcome to the Leadership Academy podcast. My name's AJ Willoughby. So glad to have everybody joining us today. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite times to get to spend doing this show and having amazing people on the show with us and leaders, business leaders, life leaders, coaches, talking about leadership, talking about ways that we can improve ourselves, improve our lives personally as leaders, and also be better for our businesses, business advice, and just how to succeed. And that's what's really exciting about this for me is just that opportunity to be able to meet people and have people share things with you all. Again, the Leadership Academy podcast is brought to you by its sponsor, Titan Media Works. Titan Media Works, they are the easy button to podcasting for corporate and companies looking to get into the podcasting world and get a real ROI on top of it at the same time. You can check them out at Titan Media Works, WORX.com, and they'll be glad to help you out. With us today, I am super excited. We have got Erin Andrea Craske, who is joining us today. She's an award-winning strategist and 20 years culminating as global head of communication brands with expertise in strategic development, profitability, leadership, communication. She's an ICF certified business and leadership success coach, leveraging 16 years of leadership, and she empowers contribution-driven businesses to succeed on their terms and build a profitable business while amplifying a ripple effect of goodness. We're going to talk a little bit about all that today. I'll tell you the thing I really like about her is she's a strategist. And that's something that's very important to me, as far as strategies and thinking ahead and really planning things out and being purpose driven and what it is that you do. Erin, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you so much for having me here. It sounds like it's going to be a fun conversation already. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, tell you what, let's just dive in
I,
and tell us a little bit about you, about your journey to where you're at today, how you got started, and what it is you're doing right now. And then we'll dive into some of the leadership stuff.
what I'm doing right now, I'm helping businesses to avoid mistakes that I made when I was much younger. I started my career in the corporate simply because I was taught or I was conditioned that the only way to earn money is to become part of a big multinational. Better name, bigger size, the better name, the bigger size, the better is going to be for you. Right.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I was conditioned. And the only way forward. And this is how I started. And you know what? I wish I knew earlier that it is not the only way. But again, I was educated like never give up. I was persevering. I was moving throughout different companies. And at some point of time, I realized that it's probably my time is over in the corporate environment. And actually, it happened for a very simple reason. It just happened that I was born a rebel. It's overused word, I know, but basically it means that I don't do things the way other people do if it doesn't make sense to me. It also means that I don't accept authority. It also means that I don't do what I'm told to do unless, again, I'm given a very strong rationale of why I'm supposed to do things this way and not another way. Which means that I wasn't really the perfect candidate for a corporate environment. So that was really kind of a struggle. And it depended on the company because in some companies you had really amazing leaders who were understanding that, with not following the rules 100%, you have an opportunity for a change because rebels are change makers. They're not conforming, and that's why they can bring something new, something different to the table. But in most cases, leaders were really kind of managing the company, not leading the company. And if your leader is a manager, to get off, to become a black sheep is very easy. And, it's something, how I felt in the corporate environment. So I was a misfit most of cases. And that brought me to a situation that my career ended prematurely because it was already quite challenging to go back. And also, you become more and more professional. And you will understand what I'm talking about later. But basically, with time, I learned that what I know, it's not how business is currently run. The funny
Hmm.
thing is that what I know is correct because it is about strategy, it's about psychology of your customer consumer, it's about building proper brands, it's about understanding funnel, not from digital perspective only, but from psychology perspective of how consumers make decisions, how they're moving through different stages. It's about creative execution, not a product driven execution, but creative, the one that is image driven. So that's all what a brand's supposed to be when it was born. And I realized that it's not what people are after. It's very much about I need it here and now, instant gratification of return on investment. It's all about tactics. And when I was talking to businesses about strategy, I was still kind of having this idea that probably I'm going to be back. Probably I can actually help a business because I had so much success with those businesses that I brands that I manage, by myself without any authority involvement,
Yeah.
which is even worse. So, and this is why I was going through these meetings. I was like, every time offering something, I can do it, guys. This is the opportunity. This is the window. This is something you haven't explored. And I, analyzing all their websites and the positioning and the customers. And often I couldn't even figure out who they target, let alone what they mean. So, and after a certain amount, number of meetings, I realized, okay, so I'm probably wasting my time because obviously they're not responsive. They're all interested. And you can see from the process, from the communication that they hear it for the first time. I was like, right. So, so at some point, I kind of decided to give up because I was pretty much useless. And what I decided to do is to pack everything that I knew in the strategy guide that covers all different types of strategies, all the tips, everything that I learned over 20 years, and just pack it in a book
Hmm.
that I didn't know what to do with. I just wanted, to put my knowledge in paper because I figure out the first thing, it's safe on paper than in my head. We're not
Yeah.
getting younger, so the memory is not really improving as much as I would like to. And the second thing, I just didn't want to bring it with me to the grave. Like, yeah, I still have this knowledge, and apparently it's valuable. What was also funny when I started going through research, because I added quite a lot of research materials to the book just to support, the authority, credibility of my communication of my advice. I went through different letters, articles on Harvard Business Review. And oh my God, I was so surprised when I saw that all these renowned professors everybody talks about, they think the way I do. And that gave me confidence to believe that actually what I know, it's not totally weird. It's actually quite, useful if you
Hmm.
accepted that it is business knowledge and not what you learn through whatever you learn it through. So this is how, the book was born. And through the process of writing it, one morning I woke up and I had a download that I'm going to be a coach. Had no idea what I'm talking about. It came from the blue. I never considered it. The only thing that felt good because I like psychology. So it's like, oh, okay, so it's about psychology. Yeah, kind of makes sense to me. And then, through going through endless studies and understanding how it works and understanding that I need to come up with something unique that is totally mine. So I decided to combine, to merge the unmergeable, and that's my business experience, the strategy guide in the making, my life experience that was quite transformational at the time, my hobbies and interests, and my personality. And out of this madness, was born my philosophy, my practice, and what I want empower my clients with.
Yeah. You know, hear a lot of people that talk about changes that happen in their life, whether it's premature, something that they maybe they were kind of seeing on the horizon, or maybe they weren't. Uh, but out of those opportunities is where growth and exciting things were really birthed. And that's what it kind of sounds like from you is that same thing. Your true purpose of what it is you're doing was birthed out of, you know, all of a sudden being in a situation of, wait a minute, corporate world's not for me. I'm a rebel. This isn't here, and something's happening. I got to make a change. A lot of people get scared by that, though. They get scared when that happens, and they immediately start looking for, how do I get into a place of something that's going to be just super stable immediately? How did you make that change, that in mindset, from going to a place of, hey, I'm working for corporate, I'm got a salary, I've got to, everything's in a certain place, to that mindset of, you know what? That's all gone. We're going to start from scratch. Win or fail, it's all up to me now, as opposed to, you know what? Let's just go find another corporate and let that ride.
Oh, you sound like I'm a hero. It's like I've done it. No, I didn't. I was persevering. I was like trying to get back to the corporate, even though I didn't want it. But the problem was that I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I want. And
Mm.
that is a pretty, it's not a good situation to be in. We all have to know, it's a must, honestly, what we want. It is an
Yeah.
achievement, but when we know it, it's going to make our life so much better, because you stop wandering aimlessly. You don't have a destination, you don't have a direction, you don't know who you are, you don't understand what you're here for. And it just makes the whole thing so much more challenging and so much more dissatisfying. So the first thing, know what you want. That's, it's already good enough.
You know, that's so important. How did you do that? How did you figure that out? So many people, they're there and they're thinking, yes, I want something different, but I don't know really what that is, or what that's going to look like, or what it is I want, other than I want something different than what I have today. How does someone go about finding that?
Well, in my particular case, I was taken away everything that I cherished. It was taken away from me, and I had no other choice. After I fed up persevering, I had no other choice but surrender. So,
Mm.
this is why I'm saying I'm not a hero. I surrendered and, just kind of let it go and see where it's going to lead me. So that was the only opportunity because, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just writing the book and, like, yeah, I just focus on whatever I'm doing at the moment until I got this download that you're gonna be a coach. I know it sounds a little bit like a miracle, but at that time it was actually a miracle. And then it just everything fell into the right place.
Mm.
With regards to, if we don't want to have that dramatic of experience, and I wouldn't recommend it to, faint hearted, it's not easy. I would suggest that in this case, you go through the analysis of, what you like, what you dislike, what brings you energy, what deprives you of energy. What were your interests and passion when you were younger? What's important to you? Because some people went through challenging experiences, and, some people want to do something in the world so others don't experience the same thing, or, the less extent.
Mm.
Some people want to share something they're really passionate about, so they want to bring more positivity in the world. Some people look for an opportunity, whatever is available on the market right now. So everybody is driven, by different things, but the only way you can figure it out when you come in connection with yourself and you try to investigate what really drives you, what's your motivation, and what you want to do. So that's the only way. If somebody facilitates the process, if it's not a coach, because not everybody is ready for it, a friend, somebody challenging and asking questions, so you have an opportunity to go deeper in your thinking and discover something that is hidden. So this
Yeah.
is how you come to, yeah, to whatever may be your driver.
I think you're absolutely right. And that is so important. It's hard to get where you want to be if you don't know where you want to be. And I know that sounds that really corny there, but there's truth in that statement of mostly people just know they want something different, and they have some ideas of what that is, but you've got to lay it out. You've got to paint that picture, and painting the picture is going to take a lot of self discovery and all those things that you mentioned of figuring out, where have I been? What is it I enjoy? What is it that drives you? What is it that doesn't drive you? So figuring out where you want to be, you also need to figure out where you don't want to be.
That is
And
actually,
we
that's
don't
much easier.
yeah. So and put it all together. So all right, from purpose.
Sorry for interrupting. Just because you mentioned something and I want to jump on it, there's an amazing quote by Lewis Carroll that if you don't know where you're going, any road gonna bring you there. So
I
that's a
like that.
really good one. Yeah.
I
And this is
like that a lot.
exactly what happens. And another thing that you said, that people sometimes want different. And the question is motivation, because I wanted something different. And I took a leap of faith and I just moved to a different country completely because I thought that's going to be different. But in reality, and this is why I'm saying it, because sometimes being different means running away from the current. And
Mhm.
the thing is, the external environment won't change us and it won't make us any better or any happier, right? You can't run away from yourself. So, again, it's about why do you want this different? And then describe the different because it's different for anybody, But if you're trying to change the unhappiness and dissatisfaction that you're feeling in this particular moment, just changing the external environment, unfortunately, I can tell it doesn't work. I've
Yeah.
done it. It was a massive move. Changing countries just like that. It doesn't happen to everybody, but even in this case, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So beware.
So, from purpose to profit, how to avoid costly mistakes, build a self selling brand, and achieve effortless business profitability. That's your book. From purpose to
Yes, that
profit.
sounds like mine.
It sounds like it. It's good. So let's talk about the book for a minute, and let's talk about some concepts directly from the book. First off, I think it's probably pretty evident who the book is written for. But from your mindset, when you were writing the book, who did you have in mind that was going to be reading the book?
Oh my dear God, that's the best question. So you understand I'm a brand strategist, right? I'm supposed to know
Uh-huh.
my target audience before I do anything, right? So I was writing the book, and my idea was initial idea that it was for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Then my marketeer friends, all senior marketeers, read the book and said, Are you crazy? They're not going to read it. Look at them, they don't want to know anything. They're not going to read it, and there's no point. You're wasting your time. I'm like, okay, so who do I target? So another friend came back to me, and she's also director market. She's like, I learned so much from your book. It may be good for senior marketeers. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not, Philippe Cotler. Like, I don't have enough authority to teach senior marketeers, although in smaller companies, definitely, they're going to benefit from it. So then I talked to another friend, and we decided we're going to call it brand owners. Something really vague, but it doesn't have any indication. So, yeah, actually, for a brand strategist to write a book where I have no target audience, that kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Honestly, it's not funny. So, but with time, I came back to my idea, about entrepreneurs and business owners, small business or medium-sized business owners. I decided that not everybody, it can't be possible that everybody is so ignorant. So there must be people who would like to improve their business, who would like to learn about strategy. Okay, probably they're in minority, but they will definitely benefit. If you're a senior marketeer in the organization and you still don't know about strategy, they're kind of not really good. It's not particularly promising, but you can also benefit from learning a little bit about it. And then also with time, if you're an agency, a consultant, or business coach, it may also be of help understanding how the process works.
Yeah.
So basically, from not having target audience, it became as wide and as unniched as it's only possible. So yeah, thanks for the question. It was fun. Oh my god, shame on me.
It's the mechanic who always has the car that needs worked on.
I do have a very, very long chapter about targeting. Trust me, that's a good one.
So let's take a couple concepts from the book that someone could take and apply into their life today. What would be a concept that is something directly from the book that people could use?
Oh, it is full of concepts because business world nowadays is full of mistakes, right? So you have to balance both. The first one, strategy is a foundation to any business. There is no business without a strategy. And as I'm saying often, that nobody questions the need for a strategy in a war. So why do we question or make strategy redundant in the marketplace where they fight for every share point?
Yeah.
So, or another one, how do we think or consider or call people that speak without thinking? So, if it's not considered to be virtue in a day to day world, why do we suppose that building a business through tactics without strategy, it's any better? You think first and then you do, or you say, or whatever happens. But you're not just jumping into action without thinking. And this is what strategy is about. So I hope those are kind of, easy to understand concepts. That means that
I
strategy is necessary.
Absolutely. I think it's taking the personalities that are out there. You've got a couple different personalities, but you'll have the person that is the ready, fire, aim type of personality. And then those that are the ready, aim, fire, which is where it needs to be. But then balancing that between those that are the ready, 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 aim, 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 ready, ready, aim, aim, fire. And it's like, okay, get that balance in there. Learn how to make decisions, make good decisions quickly, but don't, there's so many people that just go and they make these decisions without having a strategy in place and having that figured out ahead of time. Even in a great reference that you made as far as going into war, the generals, they always have a strategy. Now
Good,
that
good generals, good generals. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now there may be some audibles that are called, during wartime. So they may have, some different decisions that are made as they go along, or they may have to change strategy just a little bit or fine tune it as they go. But they've always got that strategy there, and to go into it with no purpose other than we're going to go to war. Yeah, let's go. What are we going to do? We're going to win. Well,
We're going to figure it out, later.
we're going to figure it out on our way. You're going to lose.
It's like Scarlett O'Hara, yeah? I'll think about it tomorrow.
Yeah, and people wonder why such a high percentage of businesses fail these days
It's
because
exactly that.
they don't have that figured out. You
Yeah,
know,
and you know what? Is one thing that people don't pay attention because I was looking at numbers in terms of how many of them fail and what reasons behind failures. It says that 50% of them fail within the first 3 to 5 years. So these 3 to 5 magical 3 to 5 years across all countries that I looked at, it means
mhm.
strategic planning period. This
Yeah,
is how the thing is called. And this is why you don't even know what you're going to be doing within the next 3 to 5 years. How can you plan your resources? How do you
right.
know how to mitigate risks? How do you can calculate different scenarios because it's unpredictable. And we all talk about volatility, whatever, it's this very famous abbreviation is in terms of volatility, something else, something else. I
Hmm.
don't pay attention to it because, in all fairness, it has been like that all the time.
Yeah.
VUCA, this is how it's called, right? It's not any different. It's always volatile. It's always unpredictable. So
Hmm.
you need to know how you would be reacting approximately. If you don't
Yeah.
have it, then there's no wonder. So that would be the
Absolutely.
first concept.
Yeah.
Concept number two, brand. There is a big difference between a brand and a branded product. What we have on the market, in 90% of the cases, they are branded products
Hmm.
because they're built on rational benefits. They deploy rational communication. They're boring like hell. They're cloned. And this is what we call proudly, we call it a brand. Just because you have a brand name, it's not enough to have a brand name. And the problem with this particular type of entering the market is that the attributes and features that you use to differentiate your product, they're not sustainable. First of all, they're not sustainable. So everybody can do pretty much the same and do it even better or cheaper or longer or faster. It doesn't really matter what you claim, but anybody else can do it better than you, learning from your mistakes. So you're already lost even before you entered. Another thing is that it builds no consumer connection. So anything that doesn't have emotional connection with consumers, it's a commodity. And
Hmm.
commodity is ruled by price, which means if there's no differentiation, there's no connection. If I have three different softwares or whatever we're talking about with pretty much similar features and pretty much similar pricing, which one would I go for? I would go for a cheaper one because I have absolutely no reason to stick to a more expensive one.
Right.
Right. So these two businesses need to pay attention to. Again, it's not sustainable longer term. It's not attracting consumers anywhere beyond pricing. And another reason why it's actually not good, I just had it in my head, just passed through. It was lonely. It was lonely and it got lost. So we're in the process. And another thing is that because of this too, it becomes, with time, it becomes more expensive to communicate the product than to build an emotional brand. Because with emotional brand, what happens? You build connection with customers. It's mutual. It comes from both directions. And when
Hmm.
they meet, this is what becomes a self-selling brand because it satisfies the customer and the customer is drawn to it, which means that part of your job is done because there's including pool communication, pool distribution action from your customer. When you're communicating a product, you have to communicate all the time because otherwise you get forgotten. And the communication has to be pretty heavy so people always have you as top of your mind awareness because you
Hmm.
don't progress through the funnel. There's nothing that's going to wait for your brand at the other end of it.
Yeah.
So that's concept number two.
Very good. Very good points. That is a whole lesson in and of itself right there with those two concepts. We are running out of time, but thing is before we go,
Had to be
I
expected. Me
I
talking can't stop.
we're here right on the thing. It's like, dang, this is getting good. Here's what I want to know. I ask this question of everybody, and that is, uh, in your career, if there was one piece of advice that you
Mhm.
wish that you had had when you first started your journey to where you're
Yeah.
at right now, that you could pass on to someone else, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't believe what you think is true.
Ooh.
So, in my particular case, as we started, I believed that the only way to be perceived by society and find your place in it and be fully functionable um, is to be a corporate employee. whether it's right for you or not. That's the only way to achieve your status, that you desire, achieve your salary, and achieve your stability. None of them appear to be true. If I was given time and opportunity to figure out who I am, what I really love, and if I knew at that moment of time that I can build it by myself, the direction that I deem it necessary for me to have it fulfilling and satisfactory, I probably would have done it differently. But it's all I knew, and I believed firmly that this is the only way, and that was wrong.
That is very good. Don't always believe what you think is true. Yeah, that's really good. From Purpose to Profit is the name of the book. Erin Andrea Craske. Look her up. You can get the book on Amazon. And where else can they find out a little bit more about you, Erin?
In the show notes.
In the show notes. All right. We'll do that. Do you have a website?
I do have a website, but it's going to be the link in the show notes. Honestly, because think about it. So somebody is listening to a show, they're driving, they're walking, they're doing whatever they're doing, and then suddenly a person says, "Okay, this is my website, and let's spell it." And they start spelling it, like 25 different letters, and then I'm going to repeat it. So, what? Do you really expect people just stop driving? Dropping everything and just writing down the name? I doubt it. That's what we're
You're
talking
probably
about,
right.
strategists and psychology. So this is why if somebody's interested, they're going to be a link in the show notes. You can always come back and click it whenever you're ready. How about that?
Yep. Absolutely. They will be there in the show notes. Erin, this has been incredible. You are an incredible person. I love your strategic mind.
Thank you.
Strategy, that's
Me too.
strategic leadership. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. I've so much enjoyed being on the show with you.
Me too. I loved it. Thank you.
So thank you. Again, you all have been listening to the Leadership Academy podcast. My name is AJ Willoughby. We've been talking with Erin Andrea Craske, and this has been a great time. And this show, by the way, our sponsor is Titan Media Works. That's WORX.com. And so check them out. Titan Media Works with an X. And you can go. They are the easy button for podcasting for companies or the corporate world looking to get into podcasting without all the hassle of all the production, all the editing, and all the fun stuff that comes with it. I've got a producer that takes care, and they've got a whole editing team, and they do all that for me. I don't have to worry about a single thing. It's just get on to do the show and click in, and then they take it from there. It sure makes things simple. Check them out, titanmediaworks.com. The Leadership Academy podcast. Thank you all. Until next time, you all have a great day.